Sampras in the round-robin competition. He's trying to do it again. It's not that easy because Sampras is the top player in the world, and he talked about it.
One of the rare occasions where I have to beat the #1 twice in 1 week to win a whole championship, but that's the system, and I again have to raise my level of playing. He's playing a little bit better each match, and it's going to be a longer match, you know, with probably many ups and downs, and I'm in for a tough battle.
The last time a man got to the final of the Masters and lost to the same guy for the second time was 13 years ago, and it was our very good friend and Pete Sampras' very close friend, the late great Vitas Gerulaitis, who lost to Lendl in the round-robin part of the competition and then in the final.
I was coaching Vitas at that stage, Mary, and I was sitting in the broadcasting booth for that match, doing it for Channel 9 Australia.
Yeah.
And Vitas had a match point and a second serve from Lendl, and he knew he should have chipped and came in. He chipped, took 2 steps forward and about 4 back, and that was it. He lost then in the final set.
30 love. Called wide.
Shot before that, you saw a few of the crowd with the clackers that they ring and those wooden things that make an awful noise. And the last time we saw those was in Davis Cup match in the United States when Germany played the US a couple of years ago.
Just to clarify why I said that these two had played earlier this week and they're both still in it. This was not a knockout competition. There were 2 round-robin groups. Sampras and Becker, Ivanisevic and Edberg were in one group, and they played in the round-robin. He got it. 40-15. The other group was Agassi, Bruguera, Chang, and Berasategi. Agassi and Bruguera came through there.
There were so many close matches, except the ones played by Alberto Berasategi of Spain. He was 0-3 on the week, but he doesn't have much indoor experience. Remember, Sergio Bruguera was 0-3 last year, his first time at the Masters. And he just barely lost to Boris Becker yesterday in the semis here. He really improved, and in fact, Sampras was a little bit lucky that he got past Andre Agassi. It could have been a Bruguera-Agassi final, but these two fought so well when it really counted.
Good cross-court forehand again from Sampras there, his favourite shot, but Becker not quite onto that one, but it's still game point for the German.
Versus.
Oh, went for the big one down the centre, trying to attack the forehand of Sampras, as he has done right throughout this set. It's his second double fault.
Becker's family, that's his sister and mother.
And there's Dad.
Father in the glasses.
Curly hair with the glasses there.
Right of your screen.
They all live about a half hour from here.
Lyman, Germany, not far from Mannheim.
Out.
Guess the name of the indoor club in Lyman, Germany. No prizes if you get it. It's called the Boris Becker Halle. Here is a break-point chance for Sampras.
Sampras only had 2 their last match here a couple of days ago and went 0 for 2, and he had 2 in the first set and missed them as well. Here's his 3rd chance.
Versus.
Boy, that has paid dividends. I'd like to have shares in that one today. It's 5 aces he served right down the tee.
Talked about the breakpoint chances a minute ago.
11 in total.
Do you remember, Fred, that Sampras did have a chance there to break back in that backhand that you talked about when he netted it? Outside of that, though, Becker has just served well when he needed to. Deuce. His serve now is getting up there close to the 120-mile-an-hour range consistently as he warms up.
Oh, it's too tough.
This is why Sampras much prefers the outdoor season. He talks about it. He said, I like being outside. I like dealing with the conditions. He said Becker is just, you know, you put a roof over his head.
I said right at the start of the show that you know, Sampras, I think, has got a mindset against Becker indoors, and he had a couple of break points in the first set, lost it, and a couple there and lost it. So that will start. Sampras is going to think, well, I've had some of these in the last couple of matches and I haven't been able to do anything. This guy's got my number indoors. Good point here. Becker gets the slice backhand, allows Sampras to get in tight for the volley, and then opens up the court with the volley, pushes that one into the open court.
Tim Gullickson's face is clearing up a little bit. We talked a couple of weeks ago. He was so weakened by a crash diet he was on that he collapsed and broke his face on a glass table. He was a little bit lucky, in fact. And now he says about his looks, he said, you know, I used to look good from a sand wedge. Now I'm more of a 3-iron.
He was lucky our friend Nicky Pilic was going to his room when Gullickson's door was open, or Gully got to the door, and Nicky saw him with a lot of
stumbled out, yes,
blood all over the place, and he wanted to know what time Pete's match was or something, and Nicky said, you just sit there and we'll get you to the doctor.
He was a bit delirious. He's better now. He's okay.
What a great shot from his man.
What a shot on the run.
That's like the shot he needed against Agassi yesterday to stay in the second set.
2-1, Sampras on serve, second set. Just look at that great shot that Sampras hit there to win that last game. He had 40 love at that stage, came through with a very pretty swing, though. And he wins the game. 2-1, Sampras leads.
And the first set, Becker won 6-4. The reason, Becker lost only 7 points on serve. Look at those first serve percentages. 75 for Becker, 42 for Sampras. Becker only needed the 1 break point. Sampras had a couple and couldn't convert.
It is tough to pick where he's going, isn't it, Fred? If you and Mary, if you look at the way, I mean, he throws the ball up and you say, now, which way is he going now? It's very difficult, and Sampras is having that same difficulty because that forehand, if he'd known it was going there, he could have covered it. 15 love.
So I'm a great believer at this stage with players like this with heavy serves. You've got to guess on certain points, and if you're given the opportunity, and Sampras has got to know that Becker's going to his forehand out wide 4 times as many serves as he is going down the tee. So give him the one down the tee. Look after the one. You've got to make him change his service motion to go down the tee more. That's what you've got to do. Good return there from Sampras, brings it back to 15-all.
Running forehand that time clipped the IBM ATP Tour sign. Not high enough.
When you've got somebody that's serving and beating you in one spot, you've got to move over there and cover that and say, well, hey, here's a big open spot here, but to get it, you have to change your service motion. You have to change your rhythm to do that. Sometimes it throws the rhythm off.
(40-15) Becker. Sampras won everything he entered in the first half of the year. It's a slight exaggeration. He lost 5 matches altogether as you watch that Becker volley again. But then was injured after Wimbledon, after winning Wimbledon. And he did not have a good summer. He was out most of the summer. Finally won an event in Antwerp indoors that just preceded this week. Becker holds on 2 games all.
That's why, you know, we're all wondering who's going to be playing Davis Cup in 1995. And Pete Sampras hasn't committed yet. Only, in fact, Jim Courier and Todd Martin have signed on. And the thing is, Sampras got hurt right after Wimbledon when we were watching him play against the Dutch. Here's his Boris Becker's wife, Barbara, his coach, Nick Bollettieri. Mike DePalmer, his hitting partner, sitting there too. And then Sampras got injured after the U.S. Open, too, with a bad knee. I mean, unfortunately, the timing of Davis Cup is not great for these players who are always seem to be involved in the final weekends of the 2-week Grand Slam events.
No, it's not. The other question is whether Becker's going to play Davis Cup for Germany next year. He's saying that he won't play the first match for that reason.
He wants him in Australia.
That's a great play. Terrific play there from Becker. Snuck in as soon as he got the angle on the cross-court backhand. This top spinner here, as soon as he gets the angle, he sees that Sampras is going to slice it. He makes the move into the net. Sampras has to make it and run across for that running forehand. Becker sees him and goes back in behind him. Good strategy.
(30-15).
We're talking about how consistent is the serve, the look of the Becker serve. Pete, the formative coach Sampras' young life, Dr. Pete Fisher, he used to practice. He said, I'd call the serve while the ball was in the air so that Pete had to have the same toss for a monster flat serve, the heavy kick, and the vicious slice. Oh, chummed it, an easy volley. He'd done some good work to get himself to the net in nice and tight, and then really lost his concentration and made his life a little bit complicated here. That should have been 40-15. Now the fans are going to try to beg another break out of Becker.
And one break is all it took in the first set.
Yeah, this kind of indoor tennis, one break a set will do it. And again, Pete presses 197. He was going for 122-mile-an-hour serve and missed it.
He missed it. That was unlucky for Becker, wasn't it?
That was totally unlucky.
Sampras covered that one and hit the top of the tape. Even if it had been cleanly over there, it would have been a very difficult shot for Becker. He does a great effort to get to this one. Look at Becker, got the open court, drives it down there, hits the tape. Sampras would have been struggling to get to it, and the luck of the net cord, it pushed it about 6 inches out. Look at Sampras trying to stretch for that. He plays the shot, hits the top of the tape, and it bounces out. Relief right there for Sampras. That's a great volley.
Nevertheless, Becker was keeping the pressure on Sampras there, and he's getting the message. 3-2. Sampras, no breaks. Second set. First set to Becker.